my friends! So today's next video is Oliver and Company. When a hungry little kitten named Oliver meets a dog named Dodger, he joins a ragtag canine family. Not long after, Oliver gets adopted by a sweet little girl named Jenny. But when Jenny is kidnapped by the evil Sykes, it's up to Oliver and his friends to bring her back. So this is a fun picture, lots of characters in this one. And our cover page, again, down here is owned by Disney Press. They wrote the book, they made the pictures, they put it all together. Let's find out what happens. One afternoon, a litter of kittens was placed in a box on the New York City sidewalk. As night drew near, the street began to get darker and darker. Only one little orange kitten was left. The kitten was cute and friendly, but no one had noticed him all day. His brothers and sisters had been much more eager. He felt very lonely. The next morning, the streets again bustled with people. The kitten awoke feeling very hungry. Soon, he smelled some hot dogs on a street vendor's cart. But when he tried to get one, the unfriendly vendor shooed him away. "You sure picked the wrong guy to get a hot dog from," said a voice. The hungry kitten turned to see a streetwise dog. "My name's Dodger," said the dog as the kitten approached him. "How would you like to team up with me to get some hot dogs?" The kitten nodded eagerly. He was so hungry. Together they managed to get some hot dogs. But then Dodger raced away with the food. "Hey, wait for me!" cried the kitten. "Sorry, kid. Our partnership is herewith dissolved," Dodger yelled. But little did Dodger know, the kitten had nothing to lose. He followed Dodger all the way back to the old boat where Dodger lived. There he saw Dodger show the hot dogs to his family. A Great Dane named Einstein, a little feisty Chihuahua named Tito, an Afghan hound named Rita, and a theatrical bulldog named Francis. The kitten listened to Dodger telling the dogs how he managed to snag the hot dogs all by himself. Suddenly, the kitten lost his footing and fell right into the middle of the dogs' meeting. Instantly, the dogs surrounded the kitten, barking and scaring him. But Dodger was so impressed with the kitten's nerve that he convinced the others to let him stay for supper. A little while later, a scruffy-looking man named Fagin came aboard the boat. The dogs jumped up to greet their best friend. Fagin happily tossed his dog some biscuits that he had as he petted them and told them about his day. Suddenly, a car horn sounded. Beep, beep! Fagin's face fell. Reluctantly, he went out to the deck to meet an evil man named Sykes. Fagin owed Sykes some money, and Sykes was not a patient man. "You have 3 days, Fagin," Sykes said. 3 days? Oh, sure, I could do that. Count on me," Fagin stuttered. The next day, the dogs and the kitten decided to help Fagin out. They spotted an expensive-looking limousine. Tito hopped into the front seat, bringing the kitten with him. As soon as he found there was nothing worth taking, he hopped out, but the kitten was left behind. A little girl named Jenny was in the back seat. She liked the kitten and wanted to keep him as a pet. "I think I'll call you Oliver," Jenny said to the kitten as the driver began to drive away. Outside, Dodger Einstein chased after the limo, but the dog simply could not keep up with the car. Jenny lived in a mansion with her parents and Winston the butler. Since her parents were away on travel, Winston was in charge. Jenny also had a snobby prize poodle named Georgette. She explained to Georgette that Oliver was going to live with them from now on. Georgette smiled sweetly for Jenny, but inside she did not like the idea of sharing her household with another pet, especially a cat. Georgette had another reason for being jealous of Oliver. The little kitten and Jenny soon became best friends. They did everything together, and Oliver loved Jenny in return. He began to feel that he was a very lucky kitten. Meanwhile, Dodger and his friends were worried about Oliver. They thought they needed to save him and take him back to the boat. They didn't know that Oliver was happy in his new home. One day they gathered outside Jenny's house. After they saw her board the bus for school, they went up to the front door and walked in. Although Georgette was afraid of the dogs at first, she discovered this was an easy way to get rid of the cat. She led the dogs straight to where Oliver lay napping peacefully on Jenny's bed. Delighted, the dogs looked at their little friend, glad to see he was safe and unharmed. Quickly, the dogs wrapped Oliver up in a pillowcase, trying not to wake him. Then they left through the back window. Back at the boat, the dogs eagerly let Oliver out of the pillowcase. "What's going on?" the bewildered kitten asked. "The rescue of the century," replied Tito. "Yeah, we rescued you, kitty," said Einstein. "We brought you home." "But I have another home now," Oliver said sadly. He loved his friends, but he loved Jenny too, and Jenny needed him. Later that night, when Fagin returned to the boat, he gave Oliver a friendly greeting. Then Fagin noticed the expensive tag on Oliver's collar with a very exclusive address written on it. Fagin had an idea. He grabbed a pen and a piece of paper. Fagin was going to ask for a ransom for the safe return of Oliver. He knew it was a bad thing to do, but he was desperate. He knew Sykes would come for the money any minute now. Meanwhile, Fagin used the ploy to buy time from Sykes. He grabbed Oliver and went down to Sykes' warehouse. Thinking Fagin was ready to pay back his debt, Sykes let him into his office. Then Fagin told him about the plan. Sykes leaned back in his chair. "I'm proud of you, Fagin. You're smarter than I thought." Then Sykes smiled evilly and let Fagin out of the warehouse. Out on the docks, Jenny met Fagin. She had received his letter and pooled together all her money to get Oliver back. As soon as Fagin saw her, he felt guilty. "Hey, guess what?" he said. He pulled Oliver up from behind him. "I just happened to have found this little lost kitten. Maybe he's yours." Jenny was overjoyed to see Oliver again. Even Fagin was happy when he saw the look on her face. He knew he had done the right thing. But as Jenny and Oliver turned to leave with Georgette, who had come with her, the familiar headlights from Sykes' car lit up on the dock. The car pulled up right next to Jenny. Fagin and his dogs turned around just in time to see the car driving away with Jenny inside. Oliver didn't know what to do. He needed to save Jenny from Sykes. Then the dogs made another plan. This time, Oliver had to be very brave. Since he was the smallest, he snuck into Sykes' warehouse. Then, after he had crept past Sykes' scary Dobermans, he let the other dogs in. Just then, Sykes' Doberman smelled the cat. As they bounded out of Sykes' office to search for Oliver, Sykes followed them. Dodger and the other dogs rushed into Sykes' office, where they found Jenny. Quickly, they attached a hook from a pulley to the back of Jenny's chair. While Tito worked desperately on the wires that controlled the pulley, Oliver jumped into Jenny's lap. Suddenly, they all heard Sykes returning with his Dobermans. Dodger and the others jumped onto Jenny's chair just as Tito managed to get the pulley to raise the chair up into the rafters. "Stop them!" Sykes yelled at his Doberman. Sykes smashed the control to the pulley. Jenny, Oliver, and the dogs quickly found themselves swinging wildly on the chair. Quickly, they jumped off and landed onto the cargo chute. It was like rolling down a giant roller coaster, with Sykes and his Dobermans waiting at the bottom. Luckily, just as they reached the bottom of the chute, Fagin appeared on his motorbike. "Come on," he cried, "let's go!" Jenny, Oliver, and the dogs hopped eagerly onto the shabby escape vehicle. After a long chase over the streets and onto the railroad tracks, the motorbike veered from the tracks and up onto a railing. Sykes' limousine was too big to follow. Fagin, Jenny, Oliver, and the dogs heard a crash. Sykes and the Dobermans were never heard from again. Fagin and the dogs took Jenny, Oliver, and Georgette safely home to Winston. Then, because it was Jenny's birthday, they had a big party. Dodger smiled as he looked at Oliver across the table. Even though Dodger loved Oliver, he knew the little kitten had found a good home with Jenny, and it was a very happy ending for all once upon a time in a magnificent place called New York City. And that is the end. There's all the pictures. That was the beginning. And there you go. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's second book. I will see you next time. Bye, my friends.